Just be like, dude, that's the shit.
Yo, 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 yo.
Why is my arm being cut off right now?
There's no.
All right, this is the longest intro of all time. Hello,
Good
everybody.
day.
Episode 279. Here we
Okay,
go.
kids, let's go.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
And Steve usually just danced on the intro. So,
Hello, what have we here?
You guys are so funny.
Hello.
Holy shit. It ain't C3 penis face and R2 dickhead.
Hello there.
Looking. Found someone you have, I would say.
May the force be with us. Fucking A.
Good day, Galaxy. Rogue Squadron back at it again. Short pause. Wait for it. So excited to be here. Mopar, that's my name.
Andrew Cody here once again.
We got our buddy Steve joining us from Revenge of the 90s.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here,
Yes.
but I do reserve the right to tell you by the end of this that it sucked, and I had a terrible time.
Okay, cool.
That's fine. You can tell us at the start of this if it sucks. If you've had, if you've
At
had
any
a horrible
moment.
time already, yeah.
This is off to a bad start for me, so let's just keep going.
Oh, Jesus. Perfect. So we got a lot ahead of us as far as just news in general. The DCU fandom dropped a lot of shit on us. A lot of turds.
Yeah.
Which
I was
I'm
home
so-
I was home for a family function and I saw somebody in the group chat send over the Batman trailer, trailer number 2, and I was like, oh hell yeah. I'm gonna mark this for the morning. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, Batman, Flash, Black Adam, Suicide Squad video game, like there's 47 things.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was DC fandom. I'm out of the loop, man.
Yeah,
That new trailer's sweet.
Which one?
The Batman trailers, I'm pretty down.
Yeah, we'll just jump in, man.
Let's go for it.
I am pretty hyped. I am admittedly pretty hyped. Even though I'm a number one Joker fan, I feel like they've been doing Joker so much that it's nice to kind of take a step back and let's do the Riddler and let's do the Penguin and let's get back to the basics more or less because, in 1989 we had the Joker and then the next fucking movie we had a different villain. So it's, just a breath of fresh air that I think DC needs.
And it's like I'm waiting for a movie where they treat Batman, because the thing that Batman's supposed to be is the world's greatest detective, and he's like never ever solving a mystery of any kind.
Yes.
And the Riddler is like the perfect foil and villain to like send him on a wild goose chase through Gotham where he's actually got to like use clues and use his like skills of deducing things to actually, and not just brute force, although in this one he definitely seems to beat the shit out of everybody as always, and also takes like bullets to the face, but I guess that's cool. But I do like it for that, and I love Matt Reeves. I trust like anything Matt Reeves does, so I'm on board with it, even though like every Batman movie is just like a constant quest to see like how much grittier and darker it can get.
Thank you for saying that. I was going to say the same exact thing. Like, we're getting a mystery movie, which is awesome, but also he beats the fuck out of everyone. Like, he's really angry and he takes bullets to the face and to the chest like it's no big deal. So it looks like we're getting like old angry Batman and military armor Batman and detective Batman all in the same thing. I mean, how can you go wrong?
Yeah. No, it is kind of a weird thing for them to be like out doing themselves as far as dark films and when you're talking about Batman, because it's just every movie is trying to one up itself. But I mean, the Riddler, I think we're gonna see something out of Batman in this movie that we've never seen. I feel like Joker pushes our own views of Batman. Like, it makes us ourselves, the viewers, question Batman and what he's actually doing. I feel like the Riddler will do it personally. Like, I feel like he's going to question himself. What is he actually doing? And you see him off the fucking chain. He's basically killing people at this point. And I think that's where we're going to go, is like, well, how far can we push Batman's mental stability?
Yeah.
Not only how we view him, because I think that's what the Joker does, is we start looking at the similarities, and you're like, muddied waters, bitch. And now we're
Well,
like,
the Joker's like an agent of chaos,
yeah,
whereas the Riddler, when done right, is like as formidable a villain, but like you said, in a different way. He plays with you in a different way mentally, and done right, that's a pretty cool, terrifying villain. Like, somebody who's like this like, expert at playing games and forcing you on these, to, I guess, solve these riddles and, kind of go through these motions. That's interesting and compelling to me. Like we've never gotten that. It's always just been like, oh, here's a villain, or it's the 10th Joker or whatever.
Yeah, no, like
Right.
like you said, just to keep going, is all the villains, but prior to is like, we're gonna kill this. We're gonna like, okay, I'm the Joker. I'm gonna go kill the mayor. Oh, well, I'm Batman and I'm a hero, so I have to save the mayor. I feel like now we're getting to the point where Riddler will literally just ask questions at crime scenes, and it's gonna make Batman go insane.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to solve these fucking, all they are questions.
Mhm.
And he's gonna be behind bars the whole time in Arkham.
Dude, that's gonna drive me nuts though. That's gonna drive me nuts though if I have to have a scene where like the Riddler turns himself in and then Batman interviews him and it's like, that was part of my plan all along for you to capture me. It's like,
Yeah.
how many more villains
Oh, you can't do it again.
like, it happens all the time.
That was
Yeah,
totally
it's true.
2008, 2010. I think we're done with that.
It better be. I don't know. I'm not.
We don't
I'm
need
not
another
convinced.
Skyfall Dark Knight repeat.
Yes, and Star Trek Into Darkness when
Yep.
Khan, lets himself get captured. It happened like, there was that 3-year stretch where it was like, what if the villain wanted to be caught?
We got something there. Okay.
didn't expect that, dude. It's
No,
like
it's- I love it. I love pushing Batman to the brink, and that's the whole point of Batman, is how far can we push him for him to still see himself as doing the right thing and still see, and us to view him still as the hero. And I think we've gotten to that point where it could literally switch in this movie, where he might be confronted by even, let's say, Catwoman. Catwoman's going to be like, dude, Bruce, you're fucked. Like, I'm stealing and hurting people, and you are the broken person here, clearly.
I've
Yeah.
always thought Selena Kyle was a way more like put together person than Bruce Wayne, because in all the things that throughout comics and the animated movies and stuff, Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne always have like a thing going, and then sometimes they know the other is Batman and Catwoman, whatever, but she always comes across as the one who can like manage both sides of her personality, whether it's as Selena Kyle or Catwoman, whereas like Bruce Wayne, he's like a fucked up person. Bruce Wayne is a truly demented individual, and it's kind of interesting that we don't ever really think about that or like question it, where it's like, hey, here's some guy who lives by him, he's the richest guy in the world, and he lives by himself with his butler, and he uses all his money to like become a vigilante and run around.
He's trying to punch Gotham into submission. That's what Batman
and
is
it's
doing.
like brute. Like if I was a normal person in Gotham City, I'd be like, I don't know, man. Like this guy just killed like 8 thugs. Like I know they were like robbing a bank, but like he didn't have to like put 5 of them in the hospital, break their necks.
Well, that's what happens with like if you have depression and seriously troubled issues. If you're a billionaire, you don't just get meds. You create a suit and you train with ninjas and you fight crime. Like that's the solution for it. So Steve, I was on the show with you, Revenge of the 90s, to review Batman Returns a while back. And I feel from the second trailer here of the Batman, we're getting a little bit of that Catwoman and Batman relationship. We're kind of adversaries, but you're kind of turning me on at the same time.
Mhm.
How much of that do you think is going to carry over into the new film?
I think it's pretty clear that they're going to establish some sort of relationship where I think she'll either know he's Batman, or like she'll be the only thing like tethering him to an actual like reality and like sanity and a normal life, because that's always the thing. She is always the thing that's, I guess, like, to use the puns, like she's like dangled out there like catnip for Bruce Wayne to always be like, hey, you could have like some semblance of a normal life, but like he's always like, no, I gotta go and I don't know, go to fucking space today with the Justice League. And like,
I got a reanimated alien. Hang on a second.
yeah, right. He's like it goes from just like punching thugs to like fighting, intergalactic warriors, but whatever.
Intergalactic keggers.
But I think what will happen is like, I think they will it'll be explored like a lot more than it was in Batman Returns. Because in Batman Returns, it was like a cheeky, like, ooh, we could bang kind of thing. But this one will be like an actual, I think, relationship between the two of them. Because I think this movie takes place earlier in his career as Batman. And so, like, I think he, you know, there's still like some of him left, some of like a normal Bruce Wayne like floating around in there. And I think this could be the movie that sort of like takes him to that next step where he becomes the more jaded, intense Batman, and maybe like abandons any hope of a relationship with Selina Kyle. My guess would be by the end of that movie, he'll be like, there's nothing for me here. Like, I can't be that Bruce Wayne.
Right.
So now that you say you think this is a younger Batman, I'm looking at timelines, and something that a YouTuber brought up was in the newer Batman trailer, you see Batman go to Arkham State Hospital as opposed to Arkham Asylum when he goes to meet the Riddler. That exact Arkham State Hospital is what we see Arthur Fleck go to when he's digging up info on his mother in The Joker. So my thoughts were, with this being a brand new Batman, it could be the Joker being the prequel, and then we're getting into the young Batman still trying to find himself in this new Batman. And that's why I think it might be a natural progression from we see the Joker, and then we get to go into Penguin and all the other fucks. That was just my random thought. I know, like I said, I forget the YouTuber that did it, but he pointed out the Arkham State Hospital and how it is different from Arkham Asylum.
That's interesting. I never considered that.
And then you also watch the Flash trailer, which also just came out. And then you're like, oh, well, we have this entire time travel, alternate dimension, alternate reality stuff. And then, like, all the Batmans are potentially canon at the same time?
Yeah.
Dude, don't you feel bad for DC? Because they announced that Flash movie like years ago, and it was like really cool to see that they were going to move forward with it because that's one of the best Flash storylines. But immediately Marvel was like, oh no, dude, we'll just go do that with our Spider-Man. And we'll release it like a year before.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I feel so bad. I'm stated not a huge DC fan, but I do enjoy Batman and whatnot. But I felt bad watching the trailer, and I was just like, oh, like Loki's already out and Spider-Man's out in like 2 months, and they're doing this exact same thing already.
Yeah. This whole like multiverse thing, and like I don't really know if there's ever been like I'm sure there have been like good multiverse storylines in the comics. Like obviously there have been, but one of the classic ones is like Flashpoint, I think.
Yeah.
So that always seems like the one that was the one everybody kind of runs to, whereas I'm sure there are some in Marvel, but that doesn't seem to always be like one of the top ones. So it's like hilarious to me that DC is going to get like by a year get beat on their own multiverse that they're creating.
You know what it felt like? What this whole ordeal felt like with the whole DC fandom? What it felt like was DC was literally just holding out and waiting for Marvel not to fizzle out, but for all that shit to settle down. We're post-Avengers, we're post-Endgame, and now we're getting into just kind of the series stuff, and there's no huge Marvel stuff coming out. I feel like DC was like just biding their time. They're like, well, let's see, fucking now. And now we're going to do 19 movies. You're all going to be fucking hyped. We're going to be doing every Batman iteration that you could ever think of. Flashpoint, we're going to be doing all the good stuff. By the way, that Flash teaser, you guys know who was talking at the beginning, right?
Yeah. Was that Ben Affleck?
No.
Was that Michael Keaton?
Yep, Michael Keaton.
Oh, because I was thinking, I wasn't sure because I only watched it once, and I was like, oh, maybe that's Affleck talking to the Barry Allen that he knows. But holy shit, because the last Batman at the end is clearly the leather, the immovable neck Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Can't turn my head, Batman. Yeah, because Batfleck's going to be in it, but that was definitely Michael Keaton in the trailer,
dude. Oh, that's exciting, dude. You're actually Paul. You bring up that's a good point, man. Because like I gotta say, I'll definitely watch it, but I am by no means excited for whatever the Eternals is. I don't really know. I can't say that I'm like hyped up for that movie. I'll see it, but I think what's happening is Marvel like reached the pinnacle with like Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
And now you're dipping into your D-level superheroes with very few like there's no guarantee that Spider-Man's going to be around past even this movie.
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself, like, all right, if like Iron Man, Captain America, obviously they have like the X-Men and like Fantastic Four like floating out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you've already done so many iterations of it that I don't know if people are going to react the same way that they have in the past. And like, I do wonder, because DC has so many of its like still A-list characters that don't, like, the Green Lantern's floating out there.
Dude.
And like, I understand he did
I
one
can't
movie,
believe
but he,
out of all of this, there's no Green Lantern stuff. I'm like, that's the one guy, and sorry, I'll just be short. That's the one guy that I've always really liked, but don't know much about. And I've always been wishing and hoping for something big and easy, digestible for me to get into Green Lantern deeper. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, Green Lantern Corps is awesome. It's an intergalactic police force that, like, and there have been multiple versions of the Green Lantern on Earth, and sometimes there's like multiple at the same time, whatever. But like, there's so many storylines you could draw from. You could have the Earth element, then you could draw like intergalactic battle stuff. Like, it could be like a Guardians kind of thing,
Yeah.
in the DC universe, and they just fucked that up. I didn't think that movie was that bad. But it's not great, and it's like floating out there doing nothing. But like, he's out there, Green Arrow's out there, Martian Manhunter's out there. Like, that's just like an endless amount of good superheroes. And I think what DC's doing better these days is that they stopped being like, well, every movie's got to be like, I got to fit it into this timeline, and it's all got to be this, and it's all got to fit this style. They're kind of just letting people make.
Yep, they broke the mold. Just make your story, bro.
See, that's what I thought. But now with the Batman and the Flash trailer, I feel like they're circling back around to that whole thing.
But they can if they want to.
Like, the
But
Flash
they're still doing
trailer
other
is
Batman stuff.
the Flash trailer is almost like a Batman trailer. It's like, we're going to do Batfleck
True.
and Michael Keaton, and all these Batman are going to converge together, and the Flash is going to bring them all in the same place with multiple dimension time travel stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that because it is the Flash, that they like still make it a lighter kind of movie where there's like plenty of room for levity. Whereas like, if you make like a Superman and Batman movie, neither of those characters is, at least these days, is known as being lighthearted. So it's like really hard to make a Superman or Batman movie, because like, you're already starting with a character who, like, it's like there's no room for humor, like, and so like, you know, what's cool about like the Flash is that, like, yeah, you could still tell like a you know, intense superhero movie, but the Flash will always be
He's
source
the Spider-Man. He's the Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, exactly. So there's always going to be a moment where you can like take a breath and be like, oh, that was funny. But
Yeah.
whereas like Batman, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
that's
The
just
only-
not possible.
The only comedic moments is Alfred complaining about how drunk Bruce is.
Yeah, right. Or yeah, that is like soup got cold waiting in the Batcave.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh.
But what do you guys think about like Black Adam with The Rock? Because that's a character I actually don't know like shit about. But I mean, is The
Same.
Rock?
See, I want to say, and I'll kind of loop in your comment about the Eternals as well, is that I want to say I'm almost more excited for things that I don't know anything about. Because I remember back in like 2014 or 15, I had never heard of Guardians of the Galaxy ever. And then I saw that in theaters, and I was like, that was one of my favorite Marvel movies for a long time, just because it was brand new to me. So I don't know anything about Black Adam. I don't know anything about the Eternals, and both of those I'm actually looking forward to, just because they're fresh.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Also, sorry for my dog barking. So you're gonna hear my dog barking.
But
But
it's okay. Bring him on, dude. Get him on camera right now.
just like goes for my
What are
throat.
his thoughts on Batman, please?
Oh, dude, you do not want to know.
No, he's got very strong thoughts.
It's bad.
He's a Superman fan, definitely.
Yeah, it's no, that's a good point, because like Guardians 2 might be my favorite Marvel movie of all. I think
Damn.
like genuinely that's like
Whoa.
that's one of the best like sci-fi movies I've ever seen. I think it's just so perfectly
Interesting.
made, and the cast is fantastic, and like they just nail everything. But I do get that. I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Because like I thought the same thing. I was like, what the fuck? What is Guardians? And it rules. Same with like Ant-Man. I'm like, oh, I don't know. And like Ant-Man's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
Marvel usually nails it, but I do wonder if I'm getting like a little fatigued with like the Marvel formula, because like it's all pretty much the same. I mean, Spider-Man will kick some serious ass, but just based on like what we're probably going to get with like Tobey Maguire and maybe Andrew Garfield. But like, I don't know. I will say that Marvel, to both its credit and probably detriment, follows like a very clear formula that like Guardians was the closest to like breaking it. And that's why I think I like it as much as I do, is because it was like, this still feels like something entirely different than Marvel. Even though I love Marvel.
Yeah.
It still has like its own, like, and like, you know, it's got its own thing going on still.
Well, it got heavy into space travel and aliens, you know? It felt like Valerian almost for a while. It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, you know, what's not to like about a group of, misfits that, come together as a team and like kick some ass by the end. Like, that's a story that you could see in any genre that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
And, all the characters are likable. Groot and Rocket are awesome. I mean, I think it's, you really...
Dude, they put John C. Reilly in a fucking movie. Sign me up.
Oh, yeah.
Put him in a superhero movie and he's calling people assholes. I'm fucking check mark.
Yeah.
I know. He's got to come back. He's got to come back I bet he will, because I mean, really the next phase of Marvel will be like the cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're getting deep into like the Nova Corps. I think they're going to get into like Secret Wars and Secret Invasion and
Skrull stuff.
Skrull stuff. Like, I think ultimately, I think it's Secret Wars, where like the end of that storyline is like all these like interdimensional characters from different multiverses. So there's your big multiverse Marvel story, I think. But like they all get like put on a planet to like fight in a war. And
Mortal Kombat?
I think they like battle each other. I literally is like Marvel Mortal Kombat. And I could be way off. I hope somebody like definitely corrects me if I'm like wrong.
We're hoping that you're correcting us right now. Yeah. So
this is my limited understanding of where like some of the Marvel storylines have gone in that realm, like beyond Thanos stuff. So, and I think like, the X-Men and Fantastic Four are involved. So like, I think ultimately like this new phase, like when they get to like the end game of this next crop, I think it'll be that where all of the characters, and then like you've got Galactus floating out there, who's like the ultimate villain, where he's like the planet eater. So it's like you still got him floating out there, and he's like the major villain of the Fantastic Four. So there's good stuff waiting out there. It's just, it'll be interesting to see like how long people are willing to like hold out for some of that stuff again.
No, I think there is a limit. I do think there's a limit, because when you start talking about Galactus and a lot of this Outer Rim stuff, and I mean that as far as stuff that is easily digestible just by the common human being. Like, if you're not a huge comic book fan, you can watch a Spider-Man movie and be like, okay, that was fun. Mm-hmm. You start talking about Silver Surfer and Galactus and all this, and I don't know how well it plays out on screen and or how popular. I mean, we're getting into pure comic book stuff.
Yeah.
That it'd be difficult to convey, but
I think I think the threshold has been changing gradually since
they're pushing
1989. Because as I was watching the Flash trailer and thinking about alternate Batmans and alternate timelines, I was watching a review and they were showing a couple clips from like Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, and I was like, can you imagine Batman 1989 and them trying to put in a storyline about like alternate dimensions and alternate reality? And there's like 4 different Batmans and they all do different things, and this one has this story and this one's actually Batman's dad and blah blah blah. Like, our threshold for accepting things has increased so much over the past 30 years.
That's a good point, because like if they had put Christopher Reeve Superman with Michael Keaton Batman in a movie like in 1990, people would have like melted. Like, it would explode. Like, exactly. It would have been just people would have been unable to continue functioning in society. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. It is cool because like, we're kind of seeing like comics just literally living on screen now.
Yeah.
Like you're watching, like, for instance, like with what's cool is you get the Flash storyline with Flashpoint, and then like that may go off and do its own thing, but then you've also got like whatever the Batman's going to be. And so it's like when I go to the store and there's like 5 Batman titles on any given week.
Yeah.
And they're all doing different things most of the time. So it's just depending on like, well, what do I like and what do I want to read? And so I love that DC especially is kind of starting to go that route, because like the Joker and the Batman may never become a thing, the Joaquin Phoenix version, but at the same time, you've now got two storylines that you could enjoy separately and like enjoy them. They don't have to cross over. Like I like that DC's trying their hardest to be like, it doesn't have to cross over for you to enjoy it.
And the side note to that is that the best thing that they could do is to make you think that they're never going to cross over. And then in 5 years, Robert Pattinson and Joaquin Phoenix meet on screen for the first time.
Well, I think just the way they spelled out the Joker, just the movie itself, if they just did the Batman and then just loosely you could make the connections in your head, but it's never like pointed to on screen, I think that's the best way to do it. So in your own mind, it could be prequel than the Batman, or it could live by itself. I think it just to make it so the water's so muddy, just to say fuck it, and nothing has to be connected. But if you want it to, it can.
Well, that's what was cool about the Suicide Squad. Did you guys see that?
The new one,
the new one,
so good,
kicks extreme ass. And there's a throwaway line where they mention that Idris Elba's character put a kryptonite bullet in Superman, and that's why he went to prison. It was just one of those cool throwaway lines where it's like, dude, that's intense that he literally almost assassinated Superman with a cool kryptonite bullet. And that's all the little bit that I needed to be like, okay, cool, I'm in the DC universe, like it's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
This guy, I just needed to know that this guy is a badass that deserves to be, the leader of the team or whatever. And then they go off and do their mission, and it's Harley Quinn's there, but like, and she's doing her own thing in her movies, which is awesome. But there's all this kind of like through line stuff that I just need those little tastes sometimes, and then it goes off and does its own thing. And then now we're getting a Peacemaker show, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So there's a character that everybody loved from the Suicide Squad, and they were like, well, what if we just go and like visited with him for a while?
Right.
And now you get like and that may connect to some stuff, but like if it didn't, you still get a cool show out of it. So I think DC is like starting to understand how to navigate all this. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think you're going to see more of an acceptance of the DC world, because I just feel like it's always been unfairly. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I feel like so many people just like shit all over DC just like by default, the same way they instantly say any Marvel movie is like the most insane thing they've ever seen. So I'm hoping it like evens out a little bit.
Yeah.
And just to get a random point out there that so I don't forget, but Matt Reeves, who's doing the new Batman, was also like a cinematographer for Rogue One, and I think one of the scenes that he shot was the Vader scene. So with that said, I saw a side-by-side comparison of the Vader scene and a Batman scene in the trailer where all the lights are out and all you see is flashes with guns.
Yeah.
It's side by side, and it's like, holy shit, yes.
There's a number of comparisons there. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know if this is the Batman theme now, but whatever music was playing at the end of the second Batman trailer was giving me serious Imperial March vibes. It was really close to the Imperial March. And
well,
that's our hero's theme. Like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Well, who the composer is for the new Batman score? It's Michael Giacchino.
Okay, nice. And he did Rogue One.
Just butcher that name.
Oh no, Steven.
He's one of my favorites.
He's crossing the multiverse right now. Okay, you're back.
Galactus is taking over.
Yeah,
where was I?
You were crossing the wall. Yeah, which Loki were you that time? All right, welcome back.
Well, you wouldn't believe where I just was.
Go ahead.
But I love his stuff, and he did Giacchino did the Rogue One score.
Right.
Yeah.
So he got you guys, I'm sure you know this. There's that random score out there from the original cut of Rogue One, isn't there? And then like he came in and did his own. Did you know that?
No.
No.
Okay. So I think this could be the case. I think
we are fake fans, Steve. So please enlighten us.
So I thought that there was like because like you know how there were so many like reshoots and all that shit for Rogue One. I thought that there was an original like score for Rogue One, and then they just scrapped it, and Giacchino came in and did his own. That's what I thought. But he's the
I'll
best.
have to look that up.
He's the best, and he's done some of my like. He's my favorite current like modern film composer. So the fact that he's doing Batman is like very nice, because he did a couple Mission Impossible scores. He did the Star Trek scores. He did like that new Star Trek theme for the new movie. He did like some great Pixar stuff. He's just a beast. So
and he's done a number of Marvel and Pixar movies as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's done the new Spider-Man movies too. So yeah, he's an animal. And I think like him doing Batman is just gonna kick ass. Well, it's the same with Danny Elfman had his own score for Justice League, and then there was like a completely other random score for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I like the Snyder Cut much better.
Yeah, we could talk about that briefly as well. Like, what do you think about the Snyder Cut in general?
Dude, I haven't finished it yet. This probably tells you. Which probably tells you.
All right, we're going to stop this. We're going to do a live commentary to the Snyder Cut. 4 hours. We'll catch you guys at 12 p.m.
Just to throw this out there, the new Batman's supposed to take place in year 2 of Bruce Wayne being Batman.
There you
so
go.
He is truly a very young Batman.
He's green.
I dig it. That's the same with the Long Halloween. He's super. That's a really good storyline too, and that's like one of the best like Two-Face origin stories that they ever did.
Hey, guess what's in the background of the trailer?
Oh my God, what?
Written on one of the windows in the subway, it says Halloween.
Oh, get out of here. Oh my God. Wonder if they're doing the Long Halloween just with the Riddler and like maybe Harvey Dent's involved?
Or it's leading up to? Yeah.
Or it's their version of the Long Halloween. Because the Long Halloween is one of the best stories of Batman being a detective. That's like one of the best storylines that show, because he's tracking a serial killer. And it ends up, I won't spoil it for anybody who like hasn't read it, but like it's great. And and it's a great
you talking about the Zodiac killer? Wasn't that wasn't one of Batman's villains a serial killer, and he kind of
maybe
go ahead sorry.
Well, all I know, maybe the Calendar Man, I don't know, who literally that is a villain of his.
But I remember that from Arkham. I was like, what am I playing right now?
Yeah, they actually he shows up in the Long Halloween, so I would love it if there was a weird Calendar Man scene in the Batman. But I wonder if they actually did like somewhat adapt it then.
Yeah,
knowing that now.
So here, I just found a thing on Screen Rant. The Batman's version of Riddler is Gotham City's Zodiac Killer. And they have, so the actual Zodiac Killer in real life wore a mask, but he wore his glasses on the outside, so it just looked goofy. In the very beginning scene of the first trailer, you have that guy that's pulling that tape. You hear the tape?
Yeah.
That guy's wearing a full mask with glasses on the outside.
Yep.
So this might be walking down that path of...
And then in the new trailer, you have the shot of a dead body. I think it's a dead body wrapped. His head is wrapped in duct tape, and it says "No more lies" written on his face.
Yeah, this could be like Steve said. It could be kind of an alternate version of that. That's fun, man. Dude, more detective work. I'm fine with it.
Well, that's the thing too about Batman is like that would be a way to defeat quote unquote or neutralize Batman. Is like that would really mess with him to be like what are you gonna do about me just killing like random people? Like, you know, it's one thing for Batman to like go head to head with the Joker and like, you know, beat his ass on a rooftop or something, but it's another thing that there's like a killer on the loose and like all the money and tech in the world, Batman can't stop him. So that's a compelling storyline to me. So and again, the talent behind all of this is like so good that I don't know how it's not going to kick ass.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, Colin Farrell being the Joker or being Penguin.
Yeah.
Dude, and looks
amazing.
Unrecognizable.
Yeah. I forgot it was him for a while.
Yeah. No, I did too, which is great.
Yeah. I remember being excited when he was announced, and then that was 2 years ago. And I watched the trailer and I was like, who's playing the Penguin? Oh my God.
Yeah. Who is Andy Serkis in this? Am I dumb?
He's Alfred, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, Andy
I was
Serkis is
wondering.
Alfred. I'm fucking excited, dude.
That's
Right,
That's
yeah.
so sweet.
I hope he's still jacked like Ulysses Claw. Like that has me hyped, man.
See, I wish that he would, because Andy Serkis was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movies. I was hoping that he would have an ape butler, and he would just be Andy Serkis as an ape, and it would be Bruce Wayne's butler. Doing like Caesar, his like chimp ape.
It'd be hilarious if Andy
Butler.
Serkis mocapped acted him as himself in the same role. Like he's on the mocap suit, but he's like, you're just gonna put Andy Serkis over top of this in post, right? Like
In post.
He's like, I don't know how else to do this.
this is all I can do now.
Oh my god.
So we have the Penguin, we have the Riddler, we have Catwoman. Do you think there's any risk of this suffering the Spider-Man syndrome and having too many villains in the same movie?
No, absolutely not.
Throw the Joker in, please.
Oh, yes.
Let's put Lizard in. Not Lizard.
Clayface.
Thank you.
One Clayface
See,
farting around.
The
Thank
thing
you.
is about Batman is they all fuck with Batman in a different way. And they can all play a different role. Obviously, they play a different role, but in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like Penguin and Riddler could easily exist in the same movie, and they can have different motives, and then even cross paths and be like, yeah, fuck Batman.
Well, that's the
Also-
thing is like, because Catwoman, yeah, she's quote unquote a villain, but she plays she has a completely different relationship to Batman than like the Penguin. And the thing about the Penguin is that like half the time he's like on the straight and narrow. Like half the time the Penguin's like, no, I don't do crime anymore, and he's just like running around being a businessman. So I mean, in this one he seems like a villain, but he would be like integral to the plot in a different way.
Mhm.
Like he knows the underworld, and I would assume that he'll have some role to play in this beyond, he won't have the same motives as like the Riddler. So I'm down.
No,
I don't think
I'm picturing him as like the crime syndicate, pulling the strings, doing the dirty deeds in the Undercity, and then the Riddler's the actual psychopath murderer that's kind of dancing along the storyline. That doesn't, he's the overall villain, but you still have this issue with Penguin that you're like, oh fuck, you can't do.
Yeah.
Penguin is what Gotham's become. Like everybody is just paid off, cops and shit, and then Riddler is just kind of what Batman's become, a psychopath.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got like Paul
Catwoman's
Dano.
trying to bring them together.
Yeah, you got Paul Dano as the Riddler. You got Jeffrey Wright, I think, is Gordon. It's like, I don't know, man. Just like, and it looks beautiful. The whole movie just looks, fantastic.
Dark.
So
It looks dark.
Yeah,
Everything's
gonna be
rainy.
fun.
Dark and red.
Dark and red and rainy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am curious as to why nobody seems to be able to shoot Batman in like the exposed part of his face, but whatever. I'll let that go.
That's the one thing. I think that's the one thing from the trailer that I'm just like, that was a very blatant demonstration of like Batman is bulletproof. So like,
Well, he's always had like a Kevlar suit. Like it's never just been like, oh, I'm wearing, cloth. Like Batman's always worn Kevlar to make himself like I think his cape is even just like Kevlar. That's why he like has it. And so, I think it's not inconceivable, and I like it because it makes sense. But like, because that's how you instill fear in criminals is like, holy shit, we just like unloaded a round into this guy, and he like he's still standing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
even to Michael Keaton, the first thing we see on the rooftop is those guys shoot him, and then he rises back up, and you're like, oh, this guy's, you can't murder the devil.
Exactly.
for real.
right?
Yeah.
So it's cool. I like it a lot. But
Yeah.
and it is like, I totally buy that the richest man in the world was like, yeah, I got like space level,
Yeah.
like Kevlar. Like I
Galactus
could go
level, yeah.
jump through the atmosphere right now
Yeah.
and like survive. So,
Each shoot is $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Which makes the scene in Batman Returns where he has like a whole wardrobe of suits like, Jesus, man. He just opens
I
the
know.
Batcave and there's like 50 Batman suits on hangers. Like,
Oh, I know.
ridiculous.
I don't know.
Control.
I'm very pumped.
I'm ready.
I'm just I'm so ready for like just everything coming out, man. It's been a long
Yeah.
I mean, everything got pushed back.
Yep.
A lot of stuff got pushed back with like COVID and everything. And I'm just excited that stuff's starting to like start to come back out the theaters, and like nobody's moving anything anymore because like Halloween just did like $50 million over the weekend. And that one was still released on Peacock too. And so that one did 50 million. It was like the last 2 weeks ago was like the first time like over $100 million was made in the weekend at the box office since like COVID started. So
That's
it's
good.
like starting to, so like you've got like Ghostbusters coming out next month. You got Spider-Man, the Eternals. You've got like, it's just going to start to be Scream. The new Scream comes out in January. It's just
Bond just came out.
Yeah. I'm excited. So I'm glad stuff's starting to, it's like feeling more normal.
Same.
So to take a random tangent, when I say, because you're a scary horror movie buff,
Spooky
compared to
season,
us,
baby.
when I say the word Halloween, what is the first movie that comes to mind?
Aliens.
Mine's like, what is it?
Aliens.
Really?
Because I know that's like sci-fi. I know it's like action sci-fi, but there is no movie that I will watch every year other than there are two that I would watch every year. It would be Aliens and The Thing. Those are the only two where like every year those are on the list. I gotta watch them. At some point I have to watch them. I think those that's what's Halloween for me.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, baby.
How about you, Mopar? What's your Halloween first thought?
You're gonna throw that at me. I'm gonna throw that shit back at you.
Hocus Pocus.
Hey.
Hey man,
I'm not even joking. When you say Halloween to me, the first thing my mind goes to is Hocus Pocus.
I do love Hocus. I love Hocus Pocus.
But it's actually a surprisingly long movie, and it's great. But
if
I was to like wrap my head around like a horror film, I don't know. That's hard for me, to be honest.
Yeah, are you not a horror guy?
I actually love horror. I just don't spend enough time like watching it. That sounds weird because honestly, it's gotten hard nowadays trying to keep up with nerd culture. That horror kind of gets the shaft nowadays. But yeah, I mean, I guess the Halloween movies themselves is what pops into my head. Michael Myers, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a good answer.
The mask that he wears is maybe the second thing outside of Bette Midler.
Isn't that funny? A plain white rubber mask that just looks like a dude.
That was a William
Shatner the scariest thing
in the original.
I remember seeing trivia about that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that just goes to show you, man. It's like you just never know what.
It's
will take
not
off.
about all the effects.
Yeah, and that's the thing about like the state of movies today is there's not as much room for making characters and movies that are like that, where it's like something brand new we've never seen before. Like I was like, sure, I'm pumped about Ghostbusters, but it is still Ghostbusters, and I've got like 37 years of history behind it.
Right.
Like that's why I like John Wick so much, because that's a series where like it was something that just like came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And they're like world building as they go along. And I'm like, ooh, let me see that. Let me get into that.
Yeah.
And that's like rare these days. You don't get that a lot. And that was a total surprise where like you think back to like the 80s and 90s with some of these franchises where like in like a 3-year period, you were exposed to like Aliens, the Terminator, and you got Ghostbusters, you got The Thing, you got like all this insane shit, just like all the Indiana Jones movies, you got the Star Wars movies every couple of years. It's like it's insane to think that was like what was going on in the 80s and then like into the 90s, whereas now it's like we're talking about like I don't even know anymore, like the 20 something Marvel movie and like 10 billion DC movies. And like don't get me wrong, I love it. Like if you had told like 6-year-old me that like someday I'd get to watch like every superhero I ever loved in like good movies,
9 different Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, like 28 different Batmans. Like
yeah,
like I would be like my mind would explode. But
oh yeah, just to be like name an actor. Yep, he's a Batman. He played Batman.
He did play Batman at some point. Yep.
You can name any actor now, and within like 1 degree of separation, find somebody who was like in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to the point where like I'm blown away that some of these people aren't. Like it's gonna be like Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna be the only person left that hasn't been, and then he'll be like
The ultimate villain in the next major
he'll play
phase.
Galactus. He'll play
Yeah.
Galactus.
Yeah. That it's funny that you mentioned that. I was like shocked when who plays the original Ant-Man? Hank Pym.
Oh, Michael Douglas.
I was shocked when he was cast in a Marvel movie, and then they cast as his wife Michelle Pfeiffer, and I was like, Michelle Pfeiffer's in a motherfucking Marvel movie right now.
Oh, dude, yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I know, and like Kurt Russell was in
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and so they're starting to like.
Yeah,
and Jeff
everybody.
Goldblum, yeah, it's starting to get. You're getting the old guard.
It's
in
crazy,
there.
dude. It's crazy.
I know. Gotta get that Marvel money, dude.
Totally.
You kidding me?
I'm ready for it.
I would say yes to anything that Marvel asked me to do.
At this point, yes, they've got a pretty solid track record, I would say. Just a couple billion, you know?
Yeah. And like, you get endless, royalty. Well, I don't know how good the royalties are, but like your contract, like if you sign on for like a 3 to 5 movie deal or something like that, you could pretty much do whatever the hell you want after that.
Right.
Although I did see.
You're pretty much set.
Yeah. I did see, though, that there's a big thing going on with Disney and Marvel because this may come as no surprise to you, but Disney is like totally screwing over the like original writers and artists for like the comics. So like basically I think, they've severely underpaid for like not the rights because they own it, but like basically like compensating the people who wrote the original stories. It's like I'm seeing it out there on like comics Twitter. Where
they're adapting all their like movie storylines from like original comic runs.
Yeah, it's like yeah, somebody wrote the script for the movie, but like where do you think like all these ideas came from for all these like movies? Yeah. It's almost always source material, and I think like people are getting really pissed because like they're like, yeah, you're invited to the movie premiere, but it's like we're not going to do anything else for you.
$100 billion off of your movie,
right?
But...
We just made a shit ton of money. Billions of dollars off of your work, and you're not getting jack shit for it. So
you got paid once in the 80s, 20 grand to write that shit.
And like your story has survived like 30 years and people love it, but like, sorry, I'm sure they, get by saying like, oh, well, we adapted it enough to be like its own thing, but like also they own it all. So they don't have to do anything.
Right.
True.
But it is super shitty. It's pretty bad.
I wonder I'm going to be cynical for half a second, but I wonder every time somebody readapts a Shakespeare storyline to a modern day version, if they have to pay tribute to Shakespeare's estate.
Dude, does he have an estate?
I don't.
I'm just saying it's the same kind of thing. I know he's like about 500 years removed, but as you get further along, only 500 years, in the course of history, that's not that much. But as you get further along, it's like, stories tend to repeat themselves. Like there's always the hero's journey. There's always, the villain's uprising and, why he's so disgruntled and he turns to evil. So the stories are all kind of related with all kind of different nuance to like set them apart,
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. I'm sure that's like part of where they go with it, where they're thinking. And it would be Disney like cannibalizing itself because they bought everything. So it's not like they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But
like, do you make Black Panther and like pay royalties to Lion King for the same story? Or where did the Lion King come from? Because that's obviously kind of
that's Disney's been
modeled off
of
of some earlier story. You know what I mean?
Well, Disney's been accused of that forever. Like all those like 80s and 90s cartoons, and even before they were. Yeah. People like nowadays will be like, well, look at this, and this. This is very clearly stuff they just stole from, but they made it its own thing. Whereas this is a little bit different, I would say, because like it's a direct. It's like we took this source, and and this guy's still living. So I don't know. It's a gray area. All I know is that like if Marvel and Disney are going to make like $1 billion a movie. Yeah. It seems like it would be right to be like, here's $1 million for your
They can spare like 0.05%.
Like at the end of the day,
I don't know if they have that much left. Michael Keaton comes at a high dollar nowadays. So
yeah, with the amount of goddamn actors that they're hiring for new Marvel roles, like Jesus,
dude, those budgets for those movies are like it's gonna hit like 350-400 million at some point, and it won't even be a problem.
I thought Star Wars was a lot.
Unreal.
And they have 3 Marvel movies a year, and they're all running like $250 million. That's so insane.
they're all and they're all
Mathematics
guaranteed.
are blowing my mind. Like,
Well, that's the thing
ridiculous.
is like it's like an investment where you say like if you're gonna put in $250 million and you're guaranteed to make like 3 times that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you do it every time, and you
No,
just
but
and
it's
you just keep
so much
churning
money.
out that formula, dude.
It's ridiculous, dude.
It's it's insane. Like I don't know if like someday like 20 years from now when we're doing this episode, another episode, the 3 of us, hopefully we do more in between then. But like in 20 years when we do another, we will look back and be like, it's unbelievable what like Marvel did in its time.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I really do.
The amount
I'm
of
very
great
optimistic about Marvel.
The amount of great content that they were able to pump out over the past decade is ridiculous. It's really I don't think anyone could ever say that anything came close to that. Like the amount of content at the quality that it was released is untouchable.
And I think it's smart of them to take a little pause and like we're gonna make a whole series about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they're not the most popular characters ever, but like we're not gonna top Thanos right now. You know what I mean? Like that's a 10-year buildup.
Mm-hmm.
No one's expecting them to beat Endgame the next year. So I think it's smart of them to just, take some not some time off, but kind of lower the expectations a little bit, experiment, do some WandaVision, do some Falcon and Winter Soldier. And, we're going to take another decade to build this thing back up into, I don't know if it's Kang the Conqueror or some other nonsense.
Dude, you're going to get in 10 years, in 10 years time, you're going to get a movie that'll feature the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and what's left of the Avengers together.
Yep.
Like, there's your next big thing.
There we go.
Because that's why they bought Fox, was that so they could literally just go and like pilfer all of those characters.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if people are like, that's like, you still have like some huge, I know we've been talking about like them dipping into the D-listers, but like, dude, they still have MCU versions of Fantastic Four and X-Men. Like, sign me the hell up.
Yeah.
Dude, yes.
Let's go. And then they and then they like play together, and then they are going to be in movies together. Like you could do an Avengers versus X-Men thing. Like it just goes, I don't know.
I've been waiting for a MCU Doctor Doom.
He's coming. Get ready.
You better.
When's Fantastic Four? 23?
I actually don't know if it's even on the schedule anymore.
I don't think
Is
so.
it? Because I
thought when they did that big giant Marvel announcement last year or earlier this year, I thought it was like 23. I could be wrong.
No, you might be right. All I know is that they moved some stuff back. Like today, they moved like 4 productions back, and they moved they took 2 things off the calendar altogether. I don't know if those were on there, but like, yeah, I know the Fantastic Four is coming. I would bet like 23, 24.
Yeah,
would be.
It's brewing. X-Men, they haven't said anything about yet. They're keeping that pretty secretive.
Well, yeah, because it's going to be like, luckily the multiverse like opens them up to like being able to explain away like anything.
Right.
Because it'll be like, well, how in the hell did like the Fantastic Four and fucking mutants, what were they doing during like Thanos?
Yeah.
So the same way they're going to have to try and explain it with the Eternals, where they're like, well, we were told not to do anything with Thanos. And I was like, okay, great. So you just let half the universe die, but you could have stopped him immediately. Okay. So my guess would be that like at some point it'll be like, oh, there was a rip in the multiverse and in came the mutants,
Doctor motherfucker.
The more we explain it, the sillier it sounds.
I hope MCU does it better.
Like, I really like the end of Loki, but if I think about it too hard, I'm just like, oh man, what? No.
It could get silly. Like, it could get it could come off as super dumb, and they could use it to explain away some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they will, but whatever, man. If it means that I get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in the MCU,
worth it.
Like, done. I'm good.
Yep.
Because I have a very strong feeling. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is ever coming back.
Yeah.
No.
But I do think Steve Rogers will at some point.
Interesting.
They were talking. I thought there was a talk-ish about them possibly doing a series with him, where he is living his life.
Yeah.
boning
like his
Peggy.
cavalcades when he's
just a romantic comedy.
Dude, you know what I would love? The
That would
series
be
that
awesome though.
the series that I would love. I'll tell you this. So you know how he goes back in time at the end of Endgame and stays there with Peggy. The series I would want is that he gets called back into service during Vietnam, and he goes over to Vietnam and like has to like navigate like the politics of all that, and like still trying to like serve and all that. Like I think there would just be so many cool, because that's the thing. Like that's what you can do now. Like
That'd
you could
be
be
really
like,
good.
what if we told a '60s story with Captain America? Because like when you go back and read the old Captain Americas, that's what he was doing. He was hanging out in Vietnam. Like, he beats up the Nazis, but then like he goes to Vietnam for a while in the 60s. So like
that would be awesome.
that'd be cool.
Yep. You could get some Hydra and some Shield shit going on. Tony Stark's dad is still there.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of material. Yeah, that's cool.
So there's some good. There's gonna be way more good that comes from all this. It's just and they're gonna mine it all. So they're gonna like no stone left unturned. They're gonna be like, Chris Evans, here's like $30 million. Can you come back and do this?
Yeah, they have like 100 people on Disney payroll that their only job is reading old comics and coming up with story pitches.
Can I get that job?
That would be a great job.
May I have that, please?
We have actually a running, maybe this will be our way to transition into Star Wars, since this is a, half Star Wars podcast. But we have a running joke where our fan theories on this show are just like, Disney, just hire us because we could just write Star Wars for you and everyone would love it, please.
Every plot twist in the past 5 years of Star Wars, it's all come from this show, and it's all come from our theories. So,
have you guys actually predicted?
Yes, a lot.
Really?
A surprising amount. Yeah.
What's the one where you were like, holy shit, I can't believe we got that?
I mean, it's a loose theory, but I'd probably say our Darth Bane theory. So basically the story behind Darth Bane is we don't know if he dies. There's a Sith ritual called essence transfer. So on his dying, as he's dying, he basically there's a thought that he might have transferred himself into his Padawan.
Mm-hmm.
So my theory was, what if it's just been Darth Bane this whole time? And it's just been essence transferring all the way to Palpatine. And then in episode 9, we hear Palpatine, the clone of Palpatine, say, I am all the Sith. And it's like, from a certain point of view, you're basically saying, I am Darth Bane from the beginning of... Because Darth Bane
took that concept.
Darth Bane created the rule of 2. One master and one apprentice. He was the first one to initiate that. He killed off all the other Sith, became the strongest, and then he had an apprentice. So it's been kind of a revolving door of deaths and of apprentices, and it's like, oh shit. And in episode 9, right at the end, I am all the Sith, and you're like, wait a fucking second.
Yeah.
You look into that a little bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the concept of it, even if they're not like explicitly being like Darth Bane started it. Yeah, it's still like this is how I'm so powerful.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing that we always kind of wonder with filmmaking is like, JJ's at the helm for 9. And I'm sure with it being the culmination of all of like the main Star Wars saga movies, he's trying his best to incorporate as much as he can. But it's not like JJ watched the prequels and read the expanded universe books on repeat. Like he doesn't know the source material like to the heart. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's kind of doing his best to grab things that are important or grab things that he think can wrap the story up, but he doesn't know it as well as like fans do. So it's a little weird.
And that's like a sly way though to like make a nod to it. Like I thought Rian Johnson did a good job bringing in the prequels in The Last Jedi when like Luke is talking about just the fact that Luke acknowledges the actions of like the Jedi Council. It's like, holy shit. Like
dude, Luke Skywalker saying Darth Sidious is one of the greatest moments of my entire lifetime.
It's the birth of your kid, getting married. Yeah, it's like on any given day, it's in there. It's cool. I love that part. I thought that was like a really cool, just that whole scene where he's talking to Rey in like the like temple area or whatever, and he's talking just like that whole sequence is just like holy shit, like somebody's like actually paying attention,
being self-aware,
exactly,
which no Jedi has ever done. Not a single one of those fuckers was self-aware. They were just doing as they thought, and then just not even like worrying about their And then Luke was like, "Oh, we fucked up.
We're terrible." and then he was like, "I also fucked up majorly. I almost like murdered my nephew."
Mhm.
So I don't know. For me, the series ends at 8. I don't love.
Well, let's dive in there. So, you know,
we can do that.
We've been friends for a long time. Anybody that's on the show or listening to the show that doesn't know that, we've all been hanging out since we were. I think you guys actually knew each other before I did.
Yeah.
At
Elementary
Buckeye?
school, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And then I came into the mix around 6th grade. But we've all been hanging out and making horrible movies and watching Star Wars and Jackass together for a long time. But
And CKY.
you know, and CKY. Yeah, most importantly, CKY. But, you know, the prequels is our era, you know. Phantom Menace came out when we were 11. We saw that, and that was kind of, you know, our obsession entry into Star Wars. So how do you feel like going from original trilogy to prequels to sequels, Steve? Like, what's your vibe of the Disney era and the sequels era?
I mean, it's incredible that we get as much quality Star Wars content as we do now. Like, I still, even for like some of the stuff where I'm like, I don't like that, I'm not a huge fan, I'm still like, I can appreciate that it was like, holy shit, like we're getting better Star Wars content than we probably ever could have dreamed of. You know, I am not a huge fan of episodes 2 and 3. I love the Phantom Menace. Like, I will go to the bat for that one every day of the week. I think that movie kicks some supreme ass, and I've got a lot of issues with the other 2, although there are parts of like 3 that I really enjoy. But in the mid 2000s, it was like, well,
it's that or nothing.
That's it. Yeah, it's like, that's it. I could read some expanded universe stuff. I could read some comics. I could like go back and watch them again. But like, it was never really like, there was nothing on the horizon. Like, younger people are never going to understand that, because like every studio understands like when you have an IP, it's a franchise, like, and you just are going to keep it going. It will never end. So like the concept of like a younger person today of like, hey, we made a movie and that's it. Like, go enjoy something else. Yeah. Like that'll never happen again. It's a foreign concept.
It's so foreign that no matter what the movie is, there is a 90% chance that there's a sequel coming out. It could. Dude,
oh yeah.
There was a Halloween Town 2. Stop it.
Oh yeah.
Or the movie that you loved, it was actually a remake of something that happened 30 years earlier. You just didn't realize. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember how long it took me to understand that Ocean's 11 was a remake of something.
Yeah.
I was like
that.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like people get on their high horse about like some of the sequels and like franchises, but it's like even that everything is almost taken from something else. Like, if you go back far enough, there's always an influence or a source material to whatever the hell is coming out. So I think people need to just like chill about that, because at the end of the day, like 90% of the stuff coming out from Star Wars right now is good. To me, I think there's some stuff where I'm like, to be honest, like I wouldn't say that I take or leave Mando, but I watch it and I'm like, this is pretty good. Like I'm not like, I don't know. I don't like go like, I thought the second season was like way better than the first. I thought they were finally kind of like understanding the tone and like how to tell the story, because
the way a series flows.
Yes, the first season was just like, I don't know, he's doing this thing now, and
it was all side missions. They were going around gathering his party,
case of the week kind of stuff. And it was like, I don't know. And like the second season was a better mix of the two. So I'm like, kind of whatever, but it's also like I can fully appreciate like what the hell I'm watching. I'm like, holy shit, how am I watching like a bounty hunter TV show?
Right.
And like, I love that. And then, you know, the movies have been like, I love Solo, like, because I got to see Chewbacca do shit.
Yeah, beat
a
person. Yeah.
Like fucking do things and then like use his strength and stuff. Like that was cool. And like I got like that. I still think one of the best sequences in Star Wars history is that train sequence when they're trying to rob the train. And like that's like building that universe of Star Wars where now you get these like other stories and these other like characters, and you're just like getting that expanded universe. And I don't know, it's gonna be really exciting when like now that they're kind of like past the Skywalker cloud, to just be like, let's just tell some good stories, and like we'll give like a new trilogy to this guy and to this director, and let's just, and like you're gonna just get all these new things forever. And it's like, I don't know how you can't be like excited for that. So I love it. And like I think that what Disney's doing is good. Disney's definitely doing like its Disney stuff where it's just gonna keep pumping stuff out forever. But I mean, I think the track record is pretty good. I think I think they fucked up a bit in the new trilogy by being like, well, we'll just wing the story. It's like, I don't know if you should have done that. I'm not so sure you should have done that, but like,
we'll just make it up as we go. We're Disney. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Yeah. They literally did that. They literally did that. But beyond The Force Awakens, they were like, I don't know, man. I mean, now out of that, Rian Johnson gave us something like incredible, but then there was such an insane that was the thing that was like the ripple in the universe. Like if we ever determine like that, like the world's going to end, we will trace it back to The Last Jedi, and it'll be like the split that it made between people.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Force Awakens, everyone was like, hell yeah, dude. Fucking Star Wars is back. Like, let's go. And we all love the new characters. And then like Last Jedi came out and it was just like, you were on either side. That's the Civil War right there. That's the new Civil War. So, I don't know.
There is just like a divide that movie created. And it's weird because I think it's because that movie did so many things so well and then so many things poorly all at the same time. I'm a huge fan of 8, but my most recent watch through, I was like, ooh, that's bad. And I said that
what's the most egregious? What's like the thing?
Well, there's obvious like scenes that you could point to, like Canto Bite and stuff like that. That's just like
I don't get that. I don't understand why people don't dig that. I think it was a fun side mission that also played into the larger theme of like the actions that they were all taking collectively were like for naught. That like everybody was like losing in that movie. Like there wasn't like a hero mission. Basically everyone had to confront their failures in that movie. And I thought that was the best way, because like you don't meet the Benicio del Toro character unless you're at Canto Bite, and then he's the one who like is like, you know, like, hey, we're all playing a side here, and like you think the rebellion was so good, they were also selling me arms and stuff like that. So like, that's a thread that like doesn't get pulled much after that, but like, I don't know.
But that felt like that was the thread. So they forced themselves to go to Canto Bite to play that thread out when you could have done it in so many different ways. I felt like Canto Bite was just a cop out. Like we need to have our cantina scene. We need to see a bunch of aliens and put them on screen. How are we going to do this? So they just came up with that. Yeah. I think I'm mad, and we've said this multiple times. I'm mad they didn't kill Finn off in the right time when he to sacrifice himself at the end of 8, riding into the Death Star laser gun.
Very curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Because that was the perfect thing. He left the First Order. It would have been a full circle. He would have saved the guys that he was with now by destroying his old people. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
That would have been tough, because then it undercuts the sacrifice that Luke Skywalker makes. So
they could have still played out Luke. To the fact that the gun is gone just buys him time. Luke also does it, but in a different way, because he buys him time from Kylo himself.
Yeah, he's still got Kylo and the 12 walkers there to deal with.
I mean, my issue with Finn is that they just they had no clue what to do with him. I think it's complete bullshit that he's Force sensitive. It's like the dumbest fucking thing in the world to me that he's Force sensitive. I fucking hate it. Like, I just think I think in 9 they just completely screwed up everything we've come to understand about the Star Wars universe. And it's like a lot to make you just be like, well, it's this now. And it's like, well, wait, like,
yeah,
I'm I don't know. I just think it's like such a like shoehorned in concept. Like his story is that he's a former stormtrooper. So like he already has his motivation, and it's like, how did you lose that? Like, how did you like lose sight of that?
And I think that's why I was upset that that they didn't sacrifice himself, that they didn't sacrifice him, because that was the full story. He was a former stormtrooper, and he hated the First Order, and he wanted to get away from him, but he couldn't because he joined up the Resistance. So now what's the second best thing? Well, let's kill a bunch of stormtroopers.
And then he wanted to fight against him, but he didn't really know, like, well, you would say like maybe his first emotion was like, I'm angry, so I'm going to retaliate in this way. But as he goes through his missions with Rose, he kind of understands what the Resistance is fighting for, and then he has a bit more of a purpose in going against the First Order rather than just like anger and revenge. So sacrificing himself to get the Resistance to safety would have made more sense.
Yeah, I would have been down with that in 9 if he had like sacrificed himself in 9, because I would have wanted him to like come full circle in like the third movie.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on. Like,
Rey would have seen it like more clearly, in whatever to help her like growth in the story, and like Poe, would have been affected by it. So I'm not opposed to that idea. I just think it would have made sense, because like 8 was like the Luke Skywalker story.
Sure.
Complete.
Sure.
So it's like give it like that to Finn in 9. I would have been okay with that.
I'm conflicted with like wanting Finn to do that, but also realizing that the second movie is not the place for him to do that. It was just the fact that they set it up so well, and he was barreling towards a Death Star gun. Yeah. And his ship was falling apart, and then fucking Cruella de Vil comes in from the side and like knocks him out of the blast. That's right.
That's the issue. Not that they didn't do it, but that they set it up and then just took it away from us.
Right.
That's exactly. Yeah, you're right. Now, I mean, the movie has so many good things too, because Kylo is a shining bright star in that movie. He's fucking perfect
in all 3.
Well, true. But we get to see the elevator scene where he fucking takes off his mask and is fucking livid and punches the shit, and you're like, dude, there's some raw emotion there. Yeah. And then obviously he overcomes Snoke, so it's like, okay, he's number 1 now. So there's a lot of good stuff about it, but there's other stuff like plot stuff, like, oh, we can't get to the good guys but they're running out of gas, so we'll just slowly cruise. We'll slowly cruise behind them. You're like, dude, that's
just burp laughed. Couldn't you just like said it was that funny?
Yeah, couldn't you just like? There's no way you could just like it's. Well, that's like so that stuff is always really prevalent in Star Trek. Like they explain away everything in Star Trek, where it's like use the proton torpedoes on that ship, and it's like, oh wait, we can't because they have their alpha shields up, and it's like, wait, what? Like it's always like there's something that can explain, because it's all space jargon.
Yeah, sure.
Where it's just like, oh no, you can't do that. So it's like whatever.
But even the fact, like the space jargon's fine, but the fact that the whole premise of the movie was slowly floating through space, that's exactly what they were doing.
I'm glad you brought up space jargon though, Steve, because I wonder if the core. So, from the storyteller's point of view, the core message there is that the Resistance is close to danger, but they don't have enough energy to get away, and they have to confront their own shit and figure it out. Poe's a great pilot, but he's a bad leader, and he's got to figure that out. Leia's got to punish him, but she's also got to lead the Resistance, and then Holdo's got to take over, and they have to deal with all that stuff. So, like, from a story point of view, that's really what the focus should be on. But as Star Wars fans, we're obsessed with the minutia, and we can't really get past the point that, like, oh, this ship is just low on fuel and floating through space.
But they also don't play it out well. I mean, you're on a ship, like you said, everybody's in danger, but you don't have enough energy or whatever batteries, AA batteries to get the fuck away. Shouldn't there be some sense of they followed us through hyperspace? There's got to be a rat on board. Someone's telling these people, because it's brand new technology that the First Order has. That's how they followed them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like someone on board has to be a rat, but that's never played out. And it's maybe suggested in the smallest way, but that whole thing, I know the whole Poe mutiny thing kind of happens, but it's not.
That doesn't work. I'm not into that so much. There are things about it that I agree with you. There are things that don't play out super well.
Not only don't they play out well, they're shitty.
Not only did it not play out well, the movie fucking sucks.
It fucking sucked.
No.
No, I mean, I don't think that movie's above criticism for sure. Because there's also like the thing that always drives me nuts too about the new trilogy is that it does an even worse job than the original, trying to give me like the organizational structure of like the First Order and the Rebellion. Like, it's like, okay, we got to rehash this fucking shit again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but at the very least, you could like explain it better to me. How like
Right.
the First Order even became the First Order,
Yeah.
and you
Right.
let that happen, and then the Rebellion by like the Last Jedi is like down to one goddamn ship. Like,
Dude,
how is this possible?
See, I think that's kind of what I meant is like they want to tell the story, and the fact that the ship is low on fuel, whatever, is just a reason for them to have to confront these issues. But they don't go out of their way to explain how the scenario was set up in the
Nothing's
first place,
explained.
and it
Nothing's
makes us
explained.
angry. It's like the same thing in Force Awakens. The Resistance, the New Republic, the First Order are all different things, and everyone's thinking of the Empire. And we have TIE fighters and X-wings and stormtroopers and rebel fighters, but no one knows what's going on. And I feel like they're trying to put the focus on the story, but we're all focused on the scenario, and we don't know like why we're in this in the first place.
Well, we're all focused
why
on the
should I care?
characters. We're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
focused on the characters and the character development, which isn't there.
Yeah,
Outside
That
of
too.
Kylo, I mean, I hate to say it,
and Rey.
but I don't get it with Rey, and I think they fucked it up with their whole heritage. But
Yeah.
I just
I'll
sucks.
defend Rey with the
I-
exception of the parentage thing.
Well, the thing is, she was on a nice trajectory, and then they kind of fucked it up in 8 with the kind of question mark around her parentage, and then they completely shot it dead by just throwing the name Palpatine to her.
But
Yeah.
they in eight they did the best thing possible, where Kylo Ren is like, you're a nobody. And if they had stuck with that, I think that would have been a better story, because then you're like, oh wait, somebody who's not part of this like Skywalker Palpatine bullshit,
Yeah.
like somebody else has like because that's the whole story of the end, when like that little boy at the end is like looking up to the stars and he's like, oh, I can be part of this too. It's like she's the one who helped spark the rebellion, like the true rebellion and new era in the galaxy. So like her and Kylo Ren up till 9, I thought, I'm on board.
Agreedo.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think the other thing that throughout all the sequels was they never answered anything, and I mean this in character development, in abilities, in plots. Like instead of answering a question and just going with it, they just threw up another question, like you're nobody. Okay,
Yeah.
well, okay, that's fine. And then you're a Palpatine, and you're like, wait a second. I thought she was nobody. But then they I mean, you can go down any path. Finn, he's force sensitive, kinda. Is he though? But he might be.
Yeah.
He has a
Or
feeling.
something, but it's all hazy. There's a question mark, and then you
That's-
look at like I don't know, the entire fucking everything. Palpatine's back. How? I don't know. Well, we might
that's
get
that's
to it
the
in
famous
Mando.
line. Yeah, that's the famous line when Poe runs to the group and he's like, I don't know, but somehow Palpatine returned. And it's like, what? The fuck do you mean?
Dude, there's like 3 lines, and I think one of them is Poe, and one of them is fucking Mary from Lord of the Rings. But
Mary explains the
when
whole
they-
plot.
when they just sit around and talk about Sith technology, I'm just like, don't fucking tell me the story.
Dude, Pip
Show me the
literally-
story.
Pip literally, whatever his name is, Mary literally says, it's secrets only the Sith and I know.
Yeah,
Cool. Can I know him too?
yeah. He just like, this is an IMDb review of the goddamn movie as it's happening.
Well, that's like, the movie trivia is like, did you know on the planet Exegol, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, God damn it. No, I
No,
didn't. Like,
only fucking Mariodoc knew. Jesus.
well, that's again, it's like going back to the fact that they had nothing planned out. It's like, if you kick the ball
Yeah.
down to the other movie, eventually you got to answer for the shit that you tease out.
You're right.
Like when in Force Awakens, when she she's at what's her name's like bar with
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, and like she feels the Force, and like those she get the like lightsaber or something, and
Yep.
like something about that like never gets solved. I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's a
like,
story for another time.
Yeah, it's like what?
How did I forget her fucking name? I'm blanking too.
Oh, how did this
Maz Kanata.
Maz. How did Maz get the lightsaber?
It's Luke's lightsaber from Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's a story for another time. Okay.
Okay, when are we gonna fucking hear that?
I guess I'll never get to know.
Released in 2024. Like, all right.
But that example right there that's how I felt about all the
entire
characters,
sequels.
the entire sequels.
Yeah.
Which again, we're not here just to shit on them because there's a lot of great content in there. But it does feel just like, oh, we're gonna answer that question with what if? You're like,
yeah.
And that should it's like, oh, that should be enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, still though, dude, we get some pretty sweet stuff. Like it's the Star Wars that we have now.
Yeah.
As opposed to not having it, like the fact that we get to even like talk about this and like argue about it is amazing.
Agreed, though.
Yeah.
Agreed. Though.
I
mean, the film making in general is so superior than even the prequels. I mean, it's so far beyond, and the screenwriting is so much better, and just the filming and the way they manage, even just like scenes, like giving a scene a theme. This whole movie is going to be red, and we're going to call it The Last Jedi. Okay, how are we going to incorporate red in the whole fucking movie?
Right.
And it's so beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Although that does bring me to the point of like, I really hate that we like Snoke's guards. We only get like that one. We don't get anything with those. Okay, so you get Snoke's guards come in for like 5 seconds in Last Jedi and get their ass beat.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, that would have been cool to see. And then also, you remember in Force Awakens, Kylo Ren had like his own crew, the Knights of Ren, and it's like, what the fuck? What happened to those guys? And like, obviously, they become something in like the 9th movie, but like, I don't know. It's just like, again, it's the threads that are just like, well, we don't, whatever.
That was another one that was underutilized. I agree.
Well,
Knights of Ren did nothing. They stood on the mountaintop.
They did it to themselves. They hyped stuff up. They brought us cool stuff, and then just let it float away. And you're like, dude, why even introduce the Knights of Ren if you ain't gonna do shit with them?
Yeah.
There's no point. There really isn't. I would have been better off if it was literally Kylo himself that came to in Episode 9 to capture Chewie. I think that would have been even fucking better, even more epic, because they know each other.
Yeah.
I wonder if like there was some thought on their part to be like, well, that's all stuff that could be answered in like a book. Like,
it is.
You know, obviously we'll be doing shit ton of tie-in books, and I've read a few of them. They're okay.
Yeah.
But like, I think they're okay. Like none of the books I've read so far are like that good. I think they're fine. But
I was going to say you shouldn't have to read those to get what the movie is trying to say.
Like that should be something fun as like a supplemental thing to be like, oh, I just want to go read like a different adventure they're on or something. Like it doesn't have to be like, why do I have to read a book to like understand what's going on in this movie? That's not what that's for. That's not what the expanded universe is for.
I think it suffers a bit from like, I don't want to throw Lucas under the bus, but like, if you watch behind the scenes of the prequels, one of the big things was like, all right, we're in an exploratory phase here. We're going to create this new movie from the ground up. I want to see everything. Brainstorm new aliens, new planets, new tech, new ships, new everything. And the amount of things that they developed in concept art for like the prequels and the sequels is insane. I feel like the sequels did a bad job of funneling that into like actionable story content. They were just like, all this stuff is so cool. Let's put it in there. Mm-hmm. Does anyone know what it means? No, we'll just do a comic series about it, and figure it out later. I feel like they just didn't have enough focus. I don't know.
You're right.
No, I agree. I mean,
it's just like it's a blessing and a curse because like the Knights of Ren look fucking awesome.
Dude, there was so much there.
Right, I know.
But they don't do anything.
And to further Steve's hatred, I read there's a Kylo Ren comic series. It was only 4 of them, and it was about Kylo meeting the Knights of Ren, and even that was half trash. So it's like you make me read this, and it still does. It almost brought me more questions, and I was like, I'm about to just commit it all.
Yeah,
wrote it.
Yeah,
I was about done. I was
committing atrocities right now. Jesus.
Let's I'm gonna run through. I know we just kind of took a bit deep dive into Star Wars, which is duh, But there is a lot of DC stuff left on the docket here. I'm just gonna run through these and get quick reactions. There's a couple of them I'm gonna pause at, but
Okay.
so obviously we got the Batman coming early next year, March. Black Adam. What are you guys' thoughts, real quick, on The Rock being in this?
I am very hit and miss on The Rock.
Absolutely.
I love him as a person, but his acting is like, 50-50. So I'm a little skeptical, but I'm always interested in superheroes, so I'll see it.
My issue with the Rock is that he's like the safest action star ever. He is like, it's so strange to me that he only, I mean, I know why, because he gets like fucking rich off of it, but like he only chooses like these safe, like PG-13, fairly middle of the road type of action movies. And I understand that, like, I mean, this is definitely gonna be a PG-13 like superhero movie, which like it's cool that he's gonna be a superhero, and in the DC universe. But like, the thing about The Rock, the thing that like was different from like Arnold and even Stallone was that they would do like R-rated stuff, and they had like this much bigger range of projects. Where whenever I watch a Rock movie, I'm like, well, I kind of know what I'm getting. Like, I don't.
Right.
Like even more so than I ever would have with like Arnold or something.
It
so
could
like,
be a comedy or a superhero film, and you know what you're getting. Yeah.
Some bad lines and some cool action.
I don't even think like The Rock's stuff recently is like all that good. Like the Jumanji movies are like the most bland, like adventure movies ever. I think it was Skyscraper, forgettable.
The one with the skyscraper?
Jungle Cruise, it's like whatever. There was like one or two of them in it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
so.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big reveal that there's a second one.
Rampage.
Black Adam.
Rampage was whatever. Rampage was whatever.
Yeah.
Black Adam's actually an anti-hero, so keep that in mind. He is an antagonist of Shazam, so I'm a little interested to see The Rock in a darker role.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like if it's what I think it could be, then yeah, I think it could be good.
Well, here's the horrible truth about superhero movies, and I've said this on the podcast multiple times before, is that like I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
You make me a shitty trailer, and if Batman's in it, I'm gonna see it. Doesn't matter.
I'll be there. I will be there.
I will give you my money, and then we will complain about it on the podcast.
Right.
So that's set to that's in post-production right now, and it's actually set to release end of July next year. So we're not too far away. We're under a year from that.
Nice.
I know we had our discussion about The Flash. I think that's just I don't care who you are. Even if you don't know much about The Flash, this movie's going to be fucking it. I'm telling you right now.
And I love Ezra Miller. So.
Yep. We've got some awkward ones coming up here. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Now, how did Aquaman or the new
let's take a
iteration
quick
of
side
Aquaman,
note. Yeah.
How did you feel about it, Steve? Any of them?
I like it. I mean, I know some people that were like against it. Oh, you were freezing there. Oh, you looking at us? I know some people that like were like adamantly against the new Aquaman, and I understand that it's like literally an entire CGI world because like I don't know how you're gonna get Jason Momoa surfing like a shark, but I mean swimming underwater. But I dug it. I thought it was fun. Like I like was it who did it? Justin Lin, I believe, right? Like he or James Wan. I'm sorry,
James Wan. Yeah, the guy from Saw, bro.
Saw, did some Fast and Furious stuff. Like James Wan is an incredible director. He brings, I think, is like a really unique style to his filmmaking. Some really cool shots, and like a lot of life to it. So like, I have no complaints with Aquaman. Like I didn't think it was like the best thing I've ever seen, but I liked it, and so I'm interested in a second one. And I think they brought in like, is it Black Mantis? I think is like the villain in this one, and like he's apparently like a pretty badass villain. I can't say that I know too much about. I don't think he's the one that rips off his hand in the comics. Black Manta, sorry. And
Black Manta was in the.
I don't think he's the one that does it because
the first one. Yeah.
It was he in the first one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. It opens with. I think it opens with him.
It
right?
opens with him, and then he becomes Black Manta throughout the movie.
Oh yeah. No, so wait, who's the villain in this next one then? I thought, is it Black Manta and somebody else? I don't know.
Well, I don't think Black Manta was killed by the end of this movie because it started with him and he was kind of in the background, but then he got in a feud with like his cousin or his brother or some shit.
I think Black Manta might be like one of the main villains in this now. I don't know. I really have no idea. So now I'm really talking out of my ass. Now I'm talking out of my ass big time.
Aquaman can't even swim,
dude. Dude, the thing is, I don't even know enough. I don't know enough about Aquaman's storyline. I really don't. But the only thing I do love is that like he loses his hand in the comics, and I think that would be like a sweet storyline because he gets his hand eaten off by piranhas. Super cool,
dude. That's savage.
Yeah, it's awesome. So like that would be a cool thing to see a superhero go through.
Oh yeah.
Just like get full on Luke Skywalker. That's fine with me.
Yep.
No, I think
was having the piranhas have to be his dad though?
Yeah. Aquaman, I feel like there's just a huge miss with Aquaman, but we won't get into that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom set to December of next year, so we're a ways away. There's a Shazam, Fury of the Gods, so basically Shazam 2. Did you watch Shazam?
I didn't see Shazam.
Oh man, it's a fun.
I still
movie.
haven't either.
It's so fun, guys. It's so fun.
I know. I keep hearing it's on. It's
innocent. It's fun. It doesn't play outside of the lines too much. It is a pretty straightforward movie, but yeah, I mean, it was just done well. It was fun. That's all I'll say. So the second one, I'm sure, will be just as good, goofy. We're gonna get Smoke Show 3, Wonder Woman 3.
Smoke Show.
So Patty Jenkins is doing that. Who's doing the Rogue Squadron movie coming up in 42 years.
Yeah, did you hear that Patty Jenkins is making a documentary about our podcast?
Who's that?
Wow.
What did you think? Quick side note, what do you think of Wonder Woman 2?
I liked it.
Really?
I thought it was good. I the only thing I didn't like or care for was like the really shittily lighted CGI fight with her and was it Cheetah or whatever her name is?
I don't know. Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig character. I thought because like it's very clear that the CGI was bad, so they just like made it dark as hell. But I liked it because it was telling a different type of story, and ultimately this is Wonder Woman. Like I don't know if people understand with Wonder Woman, like she would defeat a villain by appealing to his better nature. Like that is what Wonder Woman does. Like she's not somebody who just is always going to jump into a room and just beat the shit out of someone. Like she'll do it. She's as powerful as Superman, but she has this added skill to her that is like she is able to
reason.
Appeal to like she can reason. I mean, there you go. I mean, she's got the lasso of goddamn truth. Like,
yeah,
like that's what I thought was compelling and interesting about that like climax was that it wasn't just like this, drag out fight or whatever. She had it with Kristen Wiig for a minute. It's like, okay, great, whatever. We got rid of that. Let's go and have like the end that, is more compelling to me, at least. Like I liked it. I thought I was trying to do something different in like the superhero space and like with the best like female superhero that they have. And I thought it was good. Like I wouldn't say it was the best
she's
thing.
Arguably the best female superhero, period. Wonder Woman is like a fucking staple.
Yeah. If you asked anybody name a female superhero, like most people would say Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've nailed it like 90% to this point with her character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when she rides the lightning with the lasso, like that's cool as shit.
Yeah, that was badass, man. That was badass.
I didn't even make it that far into the movie. I wish I I admittedly last week I hadn't seen Wonder Woman 1984. It was on HBO and I was sitting in the hotel room. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna queue it up. I just 0% gave a shit. I didn't. I feel bad saying that, dude. You know what? Part of it was me. Part of it was me. Maybe I wasn't in a superhero mood. Part of it was I've heard bad things about it, so I was kind of dreading it. So it's a concoction of a bunch of shit. But one of these days I'll actually sit down and be like, okay, because it was like obviously the 80s themed stuff is like, okay, this is fun, and it just I wasn't ready for it, and I didn't give it a true chance. But
I think you got the curse of what we were talking about with the sequels, where it's like the important thing is the story and what happens and what the villain overcomes and what Wonder Woman overcomes. But we're getting caught up in the details of her wishing stone, and her boyfriend is back inheriting someone else's body, and they bang, but then they give it the body back, and it's really weird.
But dude, I completely understand what you're saying, but there's gotta be a balance between them.
I agree. No,
it can't
I agree.
be the corniest plot and still be like the greatest movie. I feel like
It's uneven.
There
Definitely an uneven movie.
Yeah.
I agree with
well
you.
said.
Yes.
Well said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep rambling through here.
Please.
Untitled Superman reboot by J.J. Abrams. Who fucking knows with that? Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wary on JJ after
Exactly.
episode 7 and 9.
After episode 9.
I've never seen Lost, and I've heard it's renowned, and I just don't want him to come in and retreat a series or a franchise that he doesn't know 100% about.
Dude, you know why they called it Lost? Is because that's what the viewers felt after watching the entire series.
I've never seen it.
I'm not even going to sit here and say it was bad because I watched it the entire way through and I was entertained, to say the least. It was a good show, and then it just left in a big question mark, as all of Disney has done.
I probably shouldn't say any of this because I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I watched JJ's reboot of Star Trek and enjoyed that movie very much.
The
first one,
extreme ass.
So I could be totally wrong.
The first one is like, I actually think that whole trilogy is like pretty good. The first one is like by far the best. I mean, he nails it.
Yeah.
Like that was the one where it was like, oh, he could come in and do like any property and do it well. Like the thing, Into Darkness was okay. It was that people got really pissed about it because it was Khan, and it was like, he shouldn't have done that. Like it should have just been his own isolated story. And so but I still think it's like actually like a pretty decent movie. The thing about JJ that I wish he would just kind of like, I don't know why he has to like hop into another franchise. I kind of wish he would like go back to just doing like his own.
Yeah.
Like just make some stuff, just start making your own stuff, man.
I would
like,
just want him to develop something brand new. Yeah.
I don't know that I need to see a JJ Abrams Superman.
Let's do a JJ Abrams Jurassic Park, man.
Don't touch that.
Get away from that, dude.
Let's do a JJ Abrams Terminator.
Get away from that, dude.
Get away from that. Touch it.
I'm with you. I'm positing horrible scenarios.
But like, I don't know. I mean, Superman's tough because they're gonna have to recast it again. But of course, but like, that's a tough character to nail. Harder than you think, because you have got to make the most invincible person in the galaxy or universe a relatable, which is like, I don't understand how it's so hard though, I guess, because like, he's an immigrant who has no real home, who's trying to like fight for what he believes in and like stand up to like certain values against like the way that they could like make a good Superman would be like put him in like today's context.
So
it's funny as you're describing this, and this is a totally separate podcast. This is an entire episode in and of itself, because we have to talk about Zack Snyder's Superman and everything that he's gone through, and Batman vs Superman and that entire plot, and him dealing with his invincible powers, but he's also a family guy from Kansas and his parents and Lois Lane and this and Batman and blah, blah, blah.
So I do have to at least correct myself a little bit. So JJ will be producing
okay.
a new Superman movie.
All right, you can do that.
It's still unacceptable.
The film will feature a black Superman for the first time on the big screen, and they will hire a black director as well to do it.
So now I'm in. Now
yes.
So the
now
rules,
you've got
JJ Limited just produced the shit.
I remember hearing about this. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Now
Stay away
I
from
find
the
that
dinosaurs.
I find that to be compelling.
Okay.
Because
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's that adds a completely other wrinkle to it.
Sure.
Because could you imagine, dude? Could you imagine the United States, the fear that like,
what if Superman showed up today?
Well, what if like the most powerful being in the universe was a black man? Like what like the racists of the country would do and how they react.
Like the climate that we have today, that would be a ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying is like if you
not my
created
Superman.
a Superman in that context, dude, I can't. Well, they made
We're gonna get pulled off of here.
Do you know the recent storyline in one of the Superman comics is that he's going to be bisexual, and you can imagine what that did to people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, dude, Superman's been around for like 80 years. You can tell it a different way. It's
He's also an alien. Isn't him banging Lois Lane like by species?
But
Like that's already on some certain level of fucked up. Like
Pretty
who cares
fucked
if he
up,
kisses
yeah.
a dude instead? Like come on.
It just doesn't. It's like I with Batman or any other character, like I need to see, I would love to see a different interpretation. I don't need to see a goddamn Superman that's the exact same as like the 52 I've seen before.
Yeah.
So just give me a new one. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine.
new spin.
The Joker becomes Batman.
This-
Let's go.
Actually, I was telling you, Cody, because you you were in my home the other day.
Ew.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, dude. There was so much I had to clean up. Like he left such a sick. There's so many
Yeah, it was horrible.
liquids everywhere. The really interesting story that would be cool would be Superman Red Sun, which is the story if he had landed in Soviet Russia.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that would be
like
badass.
all the stories that come from that. Like, I don't know. I mean, you know, you could tell a story like that. Those are the things that compel me. So
also in today's climate, they could twist that and have him land in China instead and pull it that way instead.
Yes.
Since we're not in the 80s.
well, that's
That
true.
would be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Let's do it.
Or like, what if Superman landed in like the poorest country in the world, and like
Ohio.
what it did.
Yeah, and he gets fucking
You know.
disgruntled about capitalism and goes on a rampage.
And just turns the entire world into like a socialist utopia, I guess. I don't know.
It'd be like exciting and scary at the same time.
I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do with Superman, but they like, you know, everyone's always afraid to do it, but it seems like now they're gonna try. So that I think that's cool.
Let's go.
All right, floating through these real quick. Some of these I've never even heard of. Blue Beetle,
Blue Beetle's cool.
Batgirl is coming out soon. Black Hawk.
Is that Alicia
so-
Silverstone?
Yes, it is.
Dude, if we're lucky.
All right.
Alfred. And then now I'm going to take a pause here. Untitled Jared Leto Joker movie.
Pass.
Hey, I'm in support of him as the Joker.
I agree.
As long as he gets that
I get hate
goddamn
for that, and I know I get hate
damaged
for
tattoo
Batman versus
removed.
Superman.
Get that damaged tattoo removed, and I'm in.
Okay, so because these two are related, so not only that, but there's an untitled Joker / Harley Quinn movie that will be featuring Margot Robbie and Jared Leto. So I think this is might be their saving grace, because this is what we wanted from Suicide Squad 1. And even the trailers
Yes.
we got like focused on their relationship, and then the movie came out and it had nothing to do with them. So I think first of all, do Joker again. I don't give a shit. It's the best thing I've ever seen. Throw Harley Quinn and Joker together, and that's what I've been wanting since I was 10 years old.
I bet you.
Thank you
I
guys
would
for
venture to
tuning
guess
in.
that movie doesn't get made. Yeah.
See, we're getting
with the way fans are. I would agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point where some of these movies, I don't even know if they were officially announced, but it's on here, and none of them have like a release date yet. So these are just kind of like thrown out there. Supergirl, Nightwing, Justice League Dark, an Untitled Man of Steel.
Dude, Justice League Dark. Give me that.
Yeah, I assume
I
that
love,
was going to be animated.
Oh well, they did a Justice League Dark animated movie a year or two ago.
Oh, really?
It's sweet, dude. Yeah, it's really good. I would recommend it. It's like John Constantine, Deadman, and like of course Batman shows up. Like Batman's part of like the fucking undead team, of course. So it's good though. That would be an interesting like new group to bring into the fold. I would be down with that. I cannot believe that there's like not a green like how do you not have like a Green Lantern movie somewhere in
They're gonna
where you're like,
save
we
it.
don't even care. Just
I feel like it's gonna be like the Fantastic Four thing. You know, it's just gonna be a while. You know, they're just gonna kind of hold on to it, and all of a sudden it's gonna be blowing everyone's mind. Not that I know that much about Green Lantern, but that's just
Oh, man. Untitled Man of Steel sequel. Untitled Deathstroke movie. And last but not least, and I just threw this guy's name out there because Stan Lee himself, in an interview 100 years ago, was asked, "Who's your favorite DC superhero?" And he said Lobo. There's an Untitled Lobo movie.
Lobo's tight.
On the docket. He looks like a buff Jack Sparrow, to be honest. He just looks dirty. He just looks
Dude, he's
dirty.
got a space motorcycle. He flies through space literally on a motorcycle.
We have to end this podcast.
He's got like he's got an ape skull as a jock strap, like as a cup. So he's pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm very down with Lobo. He's a wild dude. I've always liked him.
Like I said, I'm in support of exploring the Jared Leto Joker again in the right context without a bunch of, executive boardroom cuts and reworks. I'm interested in that. Isn't he also going to be in a Marvel movie soon?
Oh,
Morbius.
He's like a vampire thing or a werewolf thing.
He's Morbius. He's in the Sony verse where basically all those Spider-Man villains get to be in their own movies, but Spider-Man never gets to show up.
Is he going to have crossover with Blade or anything like that? Now that they own. Oh, sorry, never. That's Sony.
Well,
never
no,
mind.
that's Sony. Yeah, it's all Sony. Well, yeah, there is that Blade that the MCU is doing.
Yeah.
So they're doing Blade is that. So yeah, Sony and the other. Okay, so here's my train of thought. The other one is you're getting. I think there's another Joaquin Phoenix Joker. So now you're gonna have two Jokers, just like. So I don't know.
There's too much.
I don't know how many Jokers I need, but okay.
There's too much going on.
No, there's not.
You're wrong, Cody.
That wraps it up as far as DC stuff. At least that was on this Collider thing. But I think it's gotten to the point where like the fact that they're even considering doing a Lobo movie is like, oh shit.
Yeah,
we're getting.
They're getting into it, dude.
Yeah, and that's why with the amount I counted this before we started recording. There's 19 movies on here that
it's crazy.
Have either officially or unofficially they're being worked on. But that's why I felt like they were just waiting for this Marvel stuff to kind of die down a little bit, and then they just kind of punch us in the head with this. I mean, they're promising a shit ton right here. Yeah. So I have a very bad feeling that 50% of this is not going to get made. But
I want to go back. I want to go back to like 2011 or something and look at like an old DC timeline and be like, oh fuck. None of this happened.
2007? Oh, yeah. It was just Wolverine 1 through 7. They were just gonna fucking ride the Wolverine train until what's his face.
Oh my god, that's right. Yeah, before they like fully sorted out everything in like the MCU or like even on the X-Men side, it was like I remember like there was gonna be that Magneto Origins movie. There was gonna be like just like 4 more Wolverines. They were gonna do like. So every character was going to get their own.
That's one timeline or group of heroes that I feel like they just fucked up.
The X-Men?
Like they started off so well and I was so into it, and then it kind of just slowly went downhill. And by the time they got to what's the newest one with Poe in it? With
oh my god, that wasn't even the newest one. Apocalypse. They did Dark Phoenix too, and that was awful. Like they fucked it up. It's fits and starts. It's like the X-Men comics. Like sometimes it's like incredible, and other times it's like the worst shit you've ever seen. Like the X-Men has always been an uneven product, and I still would hold up like the first X-Men and like X2, and then like X-Men First Class was great. And then Days of Future Past was good because you combine like the old and the new worlds. You got like the Patrick Stewart in that era, then you got like the new, so it combined those two worlds, which was awesome.
It just
and then everything
messy.
Since then has been got shitty. It got shitty. Like
well,
but then Logan, but then also out of that you got like Logan, and it's like holy shit. So again, it's the good with the bad.
That's one of those things that I'll never let go. I just wish they stopped doing
if all we got
for like a decade and then do it again.
If all we got out of it was Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, it was worth it. Like,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
He might be the most perfectly cast hero we've ever gotten.
Yeah. How about Iron Man?
Ooh. Well, let's do this. Let's name our 2 favorite cast superheroes and then we'll.
Oh.
Well, I think Cody already. I think he might have gotten it. I think Robert Downey Jr. and Hugh Jackman might be the 2.
So you're doing Marvel on both.
Yeah, because Marvel's better. Duh.
First of all, Ben Affleck's the greatest actor of all time. I can't believe you guys.
I don't disagree that he is the best Batman of all time, but I don't think he's still.
Wow.
I still don't think he's like a better cat. Like, I cannot imagine anybody else as a Wolverine or Iron Man. I just cannot do it.
Yeah, this one's tough because.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a hard question because it's like you can't think of anyone else as that role until someone else plays that role, and then it's
Exactly.
like, oh,
Same
shit.
with Batman.
Well, there you go.
1993, you were like, no one ever could be fucking Batman but Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that like Gal Gadot is like perfect for it, but I do think someone else could play Wonder Woman potentially. She just plays a great one, like her own version of it. I think it fits so well.
I agree with that.
But like Superman's a tough one too, though. He's pretty fucking spot on.
Which
Henry
one?
Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's tough. Honestly, Tom Holland might be one of mine.
And he's a great Spider-Man. I mean, he's a kick-ass Spider-Man.
You know, I got into this is a sidetrack, but I got in an argument with my brother because he's younger than us.
As people do. Yeah, go ahead.
He's younger than us, and I thought it was funny because he was not even like he was either not born or just born when the original Spider-Man came out.
That's funny.
But he's also a fucking internet kid. So he started telling me how Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man and all the other Spider-Man are stupid. And I was like, kid, you were like 6 months old when Spider-Man even came out.
The thing is, like, he doesn't not like these kids do not. I agree with him. Like, I do love Tom Holland, but I do love the support for Toby. But like, they don't even understand that. Like, back in the day, man, it was like you got like the one Spider-Man movie, and then it was just like you get another in like 3 years, and then that's it. Like we got were like a couple X-Men and Spider-Man.
You couldn't have an opinion on it because that was the only thing you got. You had to love what they gave you because that's all you're getting.
Yeah, there was no ranking. It's like I like Toby or I don't. That was it.
It's like cool. It's like, oh cool, he fights the Green Goblin in this one, and then in the next one he fights the Dr. Octopus. It's like, okay, neat. I guess that's it.
Well, where we ended the conversation was I was saying that I feel like Toby's trilogy had the best suit. Andrew Garfield, I really feel like was a well-cast Peter Parker, but I feel at the end of the day that Tom Holland acts and performs the part the best. I feel he is actually a teenager, unlike Tobey Maguire was like 30 years old. And I feel better about Tom Holland in the role than I do the other ones. But they'll have their pros to bring to the table.
I didn't think any of them were bad in the role.
No, I agree. I agree. I don't think any of them were bad. They just kind of played their own version. It's nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now we'll end it on this. Who's your favorite Joker? Yeah.
It's got to be
So
Heath Ledger.
hard.
I think it's got to be Heath Ledger.
There's
I mean, Jack
wrong
Nicholson
answer.
is really fun.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson brings like that fun like 60s flair a little bit. But Heath Ledger just, I mean, Jesus Christ, that I still sometimes just like for the hell of it will go and just on YouTube and watch the scene in the like back room when he like the want to see a magic trick scene.
Yeah.
And like and like that scene's great. That like that part where he like hits the guy with the pencil. But like the thing that gets me, like the best line delivery ever was when the mobster in that scene was like, "You think you can just come in here and do all this?" And he goes, "Yeah." And you're just like, that's it. That's the Joker. Like that's the epitome of the Joker right there. And like when he like has the grenades in his like jacket and he like like has the string and kicks
Just
the door
dancing.
out.
Yeah.
Like there's something so like he just nails it. Like he just it's like I just that's as great an interpretation as you'll ever see. Yeah, of that character.
Well, the improv because that was Heath. He threw that in there as well as the other thing that he threw in was when Gordon was promoted to commissioner. Heath started clapping. In the
he was clapping,
and he was not supposed to. And so he added that. So the little sprinkles of Heath in there.
Yep.
Also, when he blows up the hospital, the detonations didn't happen correctly, and so when he started fucking with that button, that was actually him like pretending to be like, oh, what the fuck, and then it starts going off, and it was like, oh my god, everything that he added was like a sprinkle of just genuine Joker. It felt so good.
That's hard to. It's so hard to answer because we see Heath and we see Joaquin at totally different stages of the Joker's evolution. You know, Joaquin is playing him becoming the Joker. Yeah. Heath is playing him as, total anarchist, fucking with the mob because he's so smart and he's on top of everything.
He's not smart. He just doesn't care. And
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, he does kind of outsmart people. Isn't that where like his kind of comparison to Batman comes in? Is like he is kind of one step ahead of everybody in that.
I think it's just like the absolute level of recklessness no one else can comprehend, so it comes across as intelligence, but he's just like, I'm gonna blow up a fucking boat today. and then
that's a good point.
And then he walks through it, and everybody else is so worried about how, who, what, when, or why, and he's just the doer. I'm blowing up a boat today.
That's a good point. It's like when this is a fucking outward ass backwards analogy, but it's like when you teach someone to play poker for the first time and they don't know what they have and they go all in and they're just like, I just have one of everything. And they're like, oh, you have a straight and you won. What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like that's the Joker's entire plan.
Yeah, that is. It's just the complete uncomprehendable recklessness that no one else in that movie can understand outside of Batman. And that's why it's crazy.
This is so hard to answer.
I'm actually going to also go with Heath at this point because I do think there's a line in the sand that Joaquin plays Arthur Fleck. Heath plays the Joker. And I do think I'm kind of formulating that in my head still. But you're right. It is like two different people. It's just this. It ends up being the same character.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think I'll say Heath as well.
Well, we're all correct. Thank you guys for tuning in.
We're all correct and no one's wrong. Going back to a really earlier question that I never answered is when you when you say Halloween, what scary movie do you think of first? I think for me it's Saw.
Oh,
I think out of all the horror movies that I've seen, Saw is the one that must have been like right place, right time that I've watched more than the other ones. The whole twist at the end, the mystery element. I think Saw is probably like the first in my mind when it comes to horror films.
That was the franchise where, because we were in high school, and so it was like each year that it came out, like everybody went to the theater to go see the new Saw.
Yeah,
and so there's that like bit of nostalgia for me.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
I think the reason why I said the Halloween movies is because I get so wrapped up in the theme and the actual holiday of Halloween, and the fact that Halloween happens on Halloween, is kind of like 90% of it for me. Like I think of the aesthetic of pumpkins and all the
oh yeah,
and it's in the Halloween movies, obviously.
Well, it's undeniable when you hear that music. It's like okay.
Yeah. That's the
someone's
Halloween.
Dying on Halloween.
That's the holiday theme. Yeah,
exactly.
Do you guys see Halloween Kills?
No, not yet.
It's good shit.
That's the newest one, right?
Yeah.
Now I haven't even seen the previous one where she came back for the first time.
Oh, it's so good.
Fuck?
It's so fucking good.
I'm behind schedule, man. We have limited time to watch films.
Yeah.
Nina absolutely hates scary movies.
Same.
So I got to squeeze these in as much as I can. And the last one that I did actually watch, I pulled up YouTube and watched MTV's Fear. Went real throwback because that thing is fucking scary as hell.
Dude, that's why I just tranquilized my wife.
Damn it. Where are you getting your tranquilizers from? Send me your tranquilizer guy.
I got a guy. Up. Yeah, I got a guy. I got a trank guy.
Trank guy.
When she starts telling me she doesn't want to watch, Scream for the 200th time, I just dose her up. Yeah,
that's perfect.
You text the Scarecrow. Send me that gas again, bro.
The gas. She's like, why are you putting on a gas mask? Like, don't worry about it.
Can I get a particular blend that will make her like Star Wars?
Why you put on a gas? I get real into my horror movies. I like to watch it through a mask. So
we're going for immersion here. All right,
immersion.
Well,
awesome. Steve, thank you for catching us, and
thanks for hopping on,
man.
Part of this,
dude. Thanks for having me on. Please invite me on more. I want to be on this podcast more. I'm desperate.
I'm desperate.
All right.
No,
see,
this
dude.
was super fun. I had a
overcast
great
my
time.
wife.
Yeah.
She's been out for a week straight.
She's
I'm
starting to
lonely.
catch on. She's starting to catch on that I've been tranquilizing her, so things are not going well here.
That's awesome. Hey, if you want to give, we always plug your show, but if you want to do it yourself, go for it.
Oh yeah, catch us on social at Revenge of 90s Pod, or subscribe and rate and review and all that good stuff. Find us anywhere you listen to your podcast, Revenge of the 90s.
And what do you do on there?
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's a as you might guess, it's a podcast devoted to the 90s, but currently it's just 90s movies. We may expand someday, but right now we're doing 90s movies. We're in like the 80s, so we've done about 80 some movies. We're in the middle of our Halloween spooktacular, so be sure to check us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was suggesting you guys start doing like albums and stuff. Now I literally was like, dude, you guys should do "Running with Scissors" by Weird Al. It was like such a special time for I know our whole group, and it changed my life for the worse.
I just recently for the worse. I just found my Running with Scissors cassette.
So good.
So yeah,
Man, what a throwback, dude.
oh yeah, man.
That's intense. Yeah, so I was on Revenge of the 90s a while back to do Batman Returns, and then Mopar and myself were both on just recently to talk about CKY as we lead towards the new Jackass film, which comes out this week.
Does it come out this week? Holy hell!
22nd, I think, right? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then
We're on the verge, baby.
Yeah, baby. And then we will get you guys either for December as a little tease. Probably for December, I would say we'll do Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
We'll have you guys back on.
Obviously the best film of the entire decade.
I wouldn't go that far, but
The best Star Wars film of the 90s, I can say that for sure.
oh, that's true. Yeah, that I can make. Yeah, unequivocally yes.
So we'll be
The
there.
best
And I
prequel,
am
the best prequel movie.
Oh,
You're saying
I agree.
you're saying the best of the 90s? You're saying it's over Ernest Scared Stupid from 1991?
Oh
No.
shit, I forgot about the Ernest franchise.
No.
When are we gonna have a reboot of Ernest? Like of all things. Come on.
Jesus.
I don't know if anyone on Earth has ever asked that question.
Well, I'm gonna be the first. And who are we gonna
Except for
cast
you.
as the new Ernest?
Actually,
Good
John
Galaxy.
Cena looks like Ernest sometimes.
Oh god.
Like,
Let's do a buff Ernest, man.
yeah. Oh, actually, yes.
Ernest goes to the gym.
jacked. Ernest gets jacked.
Ernest gets
Ernest joins the UFC.
Yes. Yes,
That's
please.
Hey, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. So goodbye.
Ooh, 79, fuck off.
Recording stopped.
We've stopped this recording.
God, Ernest as John Cena. Or I said that backwards. John Cena as Ernest.